Have you ever pondered the question, do we really have free will? This intriguing inquiry has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and thinkers throughout the ages. It's a question that permeates our daily lives, influencing our decisions and actions, shaping our moral compass, and defining our sense of self. Free will is a fascinating concept, a seemingly simple idea that becomes a complex web of thoughts when probed. It's the belief that we have the power to make choices that are genuinely our own, not predetermined by natural or supernatural forces. It's the conviction that we are the captains of our own ship, steering its course through the vast ocean of existence. Yet not everyone shares this perspective. Determinism, for instance, tells a different tale. It contends that every event, including human cognition and behavior, is causally determined by an unbroken chain of prior occurrences. So, are our actions the result of a cosmic domino effect, or do we exert genuine control over them? The implications of these perspectives are profound. If we truly possess free will, then we bear responsibility for our actions, and the notions of justice and morality gain solid grounding. But if determinism holds sway, then are we not mere puppets dancing to the tunes of cosmic strings? And what about consciousness? That mysterious phenomenon that lights up our internal world, enabling us to experience and interact with the universe. Is it an independent entity with the power to influence our decisions, or merely an observer, passively recording the outcomes of deterministic processes? These questions touch the very core of our existence, and the answers we choose to believe in shape our worldview, our ethics, and our understanding of what it means to be human. Now that we've dipped our toes into the vast ocean of free will, let's dive deeper into one specific view: atheistic naturalism. Atheistic naturalism, a worldview that denies the existence of free will, seems to be a logical consequence of a purely materialistic understanding of the universe. Let's unpack this, shall we? Atheistic naturalism is a philosophical viewpoint that asserts that everything arises from natural properties and causes, with supernatural or spiritual explanations being excluded or discounted. It's a perspective that's grounded in materialism, the belief that only matter and physical phenomena are real. Now, where does free will fit into all this? Well, atheistic naturalism denies the existence of free will. It posits that we're essentially biological machines, our actions and decisions dictated by the laws of physics acting upon the atoms that make up our bodies and brains. There's no room for a metaphysical self that can make choices independent of these physical processes. But what does this mean for our understanding of morality, responsibility, and consciousness? If our actions are merely the result of physical processes, can we truly be held responsible for what we do? The concept of moral accountability becomes murky under atheistic naturalism. After all, how can one be held accountable for actions that were predetermined by the laws of physics? And what about consciousness? Is it merely an illusion, a byproduct of our complex neural networks? Atheistic naturalism struggles to account for the subjective experience, the what it's like aspect of consciousness. If everything can be reduced to matter and physical processes, how do we explain the rich inner life that we all experience? These questions highlight some of the challenges and implications of atheistic naturalism. While it provides a neat materialistic explanation for the universe, it leaves little room for many facets of human experience that seem deeply real and significant to us. So, atheistic naturalism denies free will, but what are the logical consequences of this denial? Let's delve deeper into this question in our next segment. Stay tuned. Denying free will leads atheistic naturalism into a logical conundrum. It's a hefty statement, so let's break it down. Atheistic naturalism, in essence, posits that everything in existence can be explained by natural causes and laws. It's a worldview that excludes anything supernatural, including a belief in free will. The denial of free will in atheistic naturalism suggests that our decisions are not truly our own, but are instead predetermined by natural laws and processes. Now, how does this denial lead to a logical flaw? Let's consider our cognitive faculties, our ability to reason, to understand, to perceive. If atheistic naturalism is correct, and our cognitive faculties are entirely the product of natural processes, then they were shaped by factors like survival and reproduction, not by their ability to perceive truth. Here's the crux of the issue. If our cognitive faculties are not designed for truth, how can we trust them to accurately understand our world, including the concepts of atheistic naturalism itself? It's a bit like a snake eating its own tail. This worldview unwittingly undermines its own credibility. This paradox is known as the argument from reason, and it's a thorn in the side of atheistic naturalism. If our minds are merely the product of natural processes, then they're reliable only insofar as survival is concerned, not truth. But if that's the case, why should we trust our minds when they tell us that atheistic naturalism is true? This issue, this fatal flaw, does not just apply to grand philosophical concepts. It trickles down to our everyday reasoning and decision-making. If we cannot trust our cognitive faculties to accurately understand the world, how can we trust them to make sound decisions? So, the denial of free will presents a logical paradox for atheistic naturalism. But what does this mean for us? It's a question that demands exploration, a question that invites us to delve deeper into the fabric of our understanding. So let's keep unraveling the thread. The fatal flaw in atheistic naturalism's denial of free will has far-reaching implications. When we start to tease apart the threads of this philosophy, we find that it unravels rapidly. The denial of free will, the assertion that our thoughts and actions are simply the result of deterministic natural processes, undermines the very foundation of scientific inquiry. If our minds are merely the product of physical processes, then our thoughts, including our scientific theories, are also just the result of these processes. This leads us to a paradox. How can we trust the reliability of our thoughts and theories if they are simply the result of blind, non-rational processes? This conundrum reaches even deeper, infiltrating our moral and ethical frameworks. If there's no free will, then personal responsibility becomes a mirage. How can we hold individuals accountable for their actions if they are simply dancing to the tune of their DNA? This line of thinking threatens to erode our justice systems and societal structures. But don't despair just yet. There are alternative worldviews that do not fall into this logical paradox. Theistic worldviews, for instance, posit that there is a divine being who has endowed humans with free will. This perspective allows for the existence of moral responsibility and the reliability of our cognitive faculties, while still recognizing the influence of natural processes on our lives. There's also compatibilism, a philosophy that attempts to harmonize free will and determinism. It proposes that our actions can be both determined by natural processes and be the result of our free choices. Yet just as this seems incoherent at first glance, it also fails to hold water on deeper reflection. For instance, see Trouble with Compatibilism by Marcus Arvin. The proposed solution of compatibilism for atheistic determinism very much falls into the trap of atheists trying to have their cake and eat it too. So the question of free will is far from a simple philosophical quandary. It has real implications for our understanding of the universe and our place in it. Today, we've taken a deep dive into the complex world of free will and atheistic naturalism. We began our journey by exploring the fascinating puzzle of free will, contemplating its existence and its significance in our lives. We pondered over the question, are we truly free to make our own choices, or are our actions predestined by the laws of nature? We then ventured into the realm of atheistic naturalism, a worldview that champions science as the ultimate truth, rejecting the presence of any divine or supernatural entities. We delved into its principles, understanding how it interprets the world around us solely through the lens of naturalistic explanations. The crux of our discussion, however, revolved around the fatal flaw in atheistic naturalism, its denial of free will. We dissected how this denial creates a logical paradox, undermining the very foundations of the naturalistic worldview. If our thoughts and actions are merely the product of physical processes, devoid of any real choice, then how can we trust our reasoning or the conclusions we draw? We concluded by pondering the implications of this flaw. We questioned the validity of atheistic naturalism as a default scientific worldview and explored possible alternatives that could reconcile the existence of free will with a scientific perspective. Our journey may have been intellectually challenging, but it has been equally enlightening. It has compelled us to question, to think, and to reason, bringing us a step closer to understanding the enigmatic universe we inhabit. Thank you for joining us on this intellectual journey. Remember, the universe is full of mysteries, and it's up to us to unravel them.